Mic's on, mic's off, mic's on, mic's off.
I decided to actually post.
I do the posting as well. It's on Facebook too, people. So if you're here, hi, howdy.
No.
What's going on? How are you, Scuba?
I don't know. I'm thinking about the Cinnaholic thing you were talking about.
Cinnaholic is a new cinnamon place that opened up for everybody watching in Virginia Beach Town Center, which is in Town Center. But the really interesting thing about it is that everything's vegan. Everything's vegan, from the frosting to the roll to all the ingredients. It's all vegan. And you can customize your cinnamon roll however you want. Or you get the ones that they, have made, like the Cookie Monster one that I got recently. The first time I went there, I got it custom made. I got creme brulee frosting with almonds, chocolate chip, and cookie dough on it. Yeah. Very delicious.
I've been watching a lot of diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Triple D is a great show.
I've been doing that. I've got the Peacock. No, it's Discovery. I've got the Discovery subscription, and I've been watching that just kind of the background music. And you know what? It's like, some of these places make me hungry, but there was actually one I watched today or listened to today that had him go into a place where the guy deep fries his cinnamon rolls.
Deep fries his cinnamon rolls. It sounds disgustingly delicious.
Well, I mean, some of the foods in some of these places just make me scratch my head. Not just because of the location, but sometimes these menu items. But anyways, but yeah,
makes you wonder. The things that make you go, people.
It makes me wonder.
People.
So yeah, hey, good evening, everybody. It's Wednesday
Hello.
night. It's Scuba and The Ry. Here's Scuba, there's Ry. And, we're here for a conversational podcast to chat about movies, games, and whatever else comes to mind. This is how we roll. Thank you for hanging out with us. Hope
roll that dice with
enjoy
us.
The conversation with us. If you're liking the video, be sure to hit the like button down below. And if you're new here and you want to hear more, hit that subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we will let you know. If you want to...
then you know.
Before we get too much further, I want to remember to shout out Sirenscape.
Shout out.
Yeah, them. I got the little thingy right there. See, right there. Hey, there we go. Fourth wall. Right there. Sirenscape. For your background music and soundboard opportunities for tabletop gaming, board gaming, whatever. Go check them out, Sirenscape.com. They have a huge library of sound sets you can use and customize, as well as an online player where if you are still playing games with your friends through Zoom calls or Discord or whatever, virtual gameplay, you can use this to share your music, your sounds with your players so they for a more immersive experience.
Yes, sir.
Check them out, Sirenscape.com. We also have Patreon. It's over there. Patreon, if you want to go to patreon.com/scuba studio for some behind the scenes stuff and just some general things. Normally we do some after shows. Tonight we're not going to do an after show. We got other stuff going on. I'm sorry. But we'll have an after show for you next week.
We promise.
But it's an opportunity for questions and chat. Yo, Craig, what's up?
What up, Craig-alicious?
Dude. Oh, man.
Gotta talk. Gotta see if I can see you when I go down there.
Yeah, you gotta talk, because I think it's funny. You're going south, I'm going north.
We're going opposite directions.
I may go south. I may go south in the future, but right now, the north is calling.
You have reasons.
I have reasons.
Yes.
I am so excited for this trip to New York in July, man. Hey, FYI, let you all know we're gonna be dark for the month of July, only because I'm gonna be out of town for a couple of weeks out in the mountain, out in the wilderness of
upstate New York.
Upstate New York. Yeah. Ry's got a bunch of family and stuff going on,
and concerts.
Gotta get that music.
Backstreet's back. All right. That's just a hint of where I'm going.
I actually know a guy who spent a few years as a cover band for Backstreet Boys.
Hey, why not?
I mean, he would like tour as like a cover person for one of Backstreet Boys. A really great dude. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to hang out with him in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, y'all might have known him if you watched this podcast in the past. That'd be Mr. Jason S. So, anyways. But yeah, chillax, hanging out, having a good time. Um, I had a thought and I lost it. I'll find it later. Ry, how's life now that the semester's done? You
It's called.
get your summer on?
It's called. I don't have to read anything, or let me say that again: be forced to read anything of my not unchoosing. So now I can better take a month off from any kind of reading because I've been reading till the death do us part. Amen. But I'm gonna pick up where I left off in the book Storytellers, which is the Foo Fighters biography. I did purchase a book today because we had a speaker at my job. Since it's Asian Pacific Islander month, she went and spoke, and she actually wrote a book on her memoirs of immigrating from Asia here. So I went and purchased it. Should be here tomorrow, so I'll start reading that, and then a few other books. But other than that, just been playing a lot of Elden Ring, catching up on some of my shows, like Ozark's final season. Ozark's the final season.
Okay.
That was a great way to end a very amazing show. You could feel like it was a little rushed on the final part of the final season, but doesn't take away from the actual ending, which was great. And the other show, I'll just leave it for that segment when we get to it. But other than that,
I discovered a new show and I binged through all the episodes. That is some dedication because each of the episodes is like 180 minutes. Or, some of them are a solid 2 hours. Some of them are pretty close to 90 minutes. And that is on Peacock. It's called The Broken Skull Sessions. I discovered that it's basically it's a podcast. It's a video podcast, essentially, where Steve Austin sits down with other wrestlers who've been in the business, retired, or legends or whatever, and just talking stories and trying to get into their kind of psychology. They're reminisce about stories, and I tell you, there are some of those that were mind-blowingly fun to listen to.
It would sound like that would be a fun podcast to listen to, especially with Austin as the main speaker.
And he's interviewing them and asking them questions, and some of these guys, it's like, he did 2 episodes with Mark Calloway, The Undertaker.
Yeah.
And it was just because there is a guy who's got stories upon stories. And it was interesting because obviously he retired and was inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame this year. But 30 years with the same gimmick. And for 30 years, he virtually never broke character out in public life. He always kind of kept the character, kept the mystique. So as he gets close, as he's getting into the retiring, now it's like he could talk. He's now choosing to talk about it, but he's still kind of hesitant about talking about it, but he's choosing to talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's like all of a sudden now we're getting all these great road stories and time period before the Monday Night Wars, like the late 80s, early 90s, before the Monday Night Wars, before WWE just absorbs the planet, and the grind of going through that life. And it's like, it's fascinating. They don't go into too much detail, but you get enough sense of it. It's like, there's some stories.
Wrestlers do have a lot of stories, and that would be an interesting to hear what kind of stories he had over the 30 years. Speaking of WWE, this is just a game news alert I saw. The WWE is actually developing a RPG wrestling game. I did read about that today.
How is that any different from the current wrestling games?
I have no idea.
Isn't it a feature in the current wrestling games to make a character that you can have go through the whole grind of being a superstar?
Yeah, but like I said, I didn't read the full article. I just saw it. I just skimmed it, and it's like, that's interesting. But we'll see.
Yeah. Another interesting thing from this Broken Skull thing, so check it out. It's on Peacock. Go check it out. It's really great. Is he talked to a few of the newer wrestlers that have come in recently, the ones that are currently active stars during the pandemic, and how the pandemic affected them, not so much them personally, but the whole concept of sports entertainment and how sports entertainment actually, because we know it's like there was no activities, no sport. None of that.
There was nothing.
Slowly come back. Well, they were still doing their show, but they were doing their show in an empty room, essentially.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things getting from this is how many of them actually the showmanship of playing to the crowd and having to listen to the crowd and use the crowd as a barometer of their pacing of the things they're doing. I mean, granted, this is taking the curtain away, but I found it just fascinating in the business mindset and all this business talk. Like, this is the game. This is what was going on. It's more than just them going. It was more than just what you see on TV.
Yeah, it would.
Layers and layers of more than what you see on TV.
Yeah.
Their thought process and the things they're going through and whatnot. And it was just that how certain groups were put together for certain purposes, and how, while we think some of them are really great, there's a sense that not everything is the creative team. A lot of it is each of them, and they all kind of agree. It's like you have to be creative to be in that business. Yes, it's physically demanding. The grind sucks
Yeah.
when you're on the road, but you can also tell a distinct difference in generations, because essentially we had 3 generations on this show. The reason I say 3 generations, you have Steve Austin and the Attitude Era wrestlers. You have the new gen of people who came in the early 2000s, and the improvements like women's wrestling and all that. Then you have the generation before Steve Austin.
Yeah.
And he actually interviewed Ric Flair, and it was interesting because Ric Flair's interview is so fascinating because it is a conversation about mental.
Yeah.
Because he struggles with his own confidence, and you're thinking, wait a minute, Mr. Woo, Mr. What?
The Nature Boy?
The Nature Boy, and it's
What?
like
That's
that,
interesting.
It's interesting. It's great because I found it very motivational. I found all these very motivational, very insightful. On the I'm in adversity. I'm struggling with something to do, struggling to make it, because they're essentially independent business people who, because that's the way they're treated.
Yeah.
They're contractors, so to speak. And then it's that business and that character and finding their footing and finding their motivation, having to deal with the struggles. And it spoke to me in the sense that, because I'm going through some struggles of my own right now, because I've got some things I want to do, but I'm not motivated to do them.
Yeah, you gotta have that.
But it's that the bite is not there. Like, I was bowling last week, and one of my teammates wasn't there, so we had a sub, right? And the sub is like, he's like, dude, I haven't played a D&D game. We should get together, play a D game when you're free. I looked at him and said, I don't have any games going on.
That is true.
He had this look of absolute shock. Like, he was completely flabbergasted. Like,
oh my goodness.
You have no games? I'm like, no, I have no games. I'm not running any games. I'm not doing any games. I'm not feeling playing games.
Yeah.
I'm really not.
It's the ebb and flow of life. It's like you move to this and this and this, and it's just a matter of having, like you said, the spark.
I'm so far removed from D&D right now that I got a package in the mail from Beetle and Grimm for a box I had ordered and completely forgot I ordered it. Completely forgot I ordered it, right? It was their box for Fizzband's Dragons, a new supplement that came out at the end of last year, right? I get this box in and I'm like, I totally forgot about this. I totally forgot.
It happens.
Paid for, and it was just there. And I was like, wow.
That happens.
But it comes in because it's a confidence thing. It's it's doing this and finding that headspace, that mental space to do these things as in this environment, in this deal. It's finding that balance, finding that drive, finding that motivation. And those are things that you have to find. And there's no one who's going to do it for you. You have to do it yourself. And it's one of those things you realize that you have to, if you're that type of person is like, look, I could talk it, people could tell me and all that, but until I feel it, and not going anywhere.
Yep.
Not doing anything.
It's the same thing. I
got people giving me plenty of influence.
Yeah.
One of my friends gave me a set of things for painting for my birthday, which is cool. And it's like, now I'm like, starting to get that itch. I need to use these. It's like there's an excuse to do. We'll see how it plays out. Right now, work is good. Work is settling, and it's like, okay, other work needs to get moving.
Yeah.
And I really do like, I know it and feeling that. Yep, Fizzband.
Yeah.
Actually,
It's all about compartmentalizing. Like you have a lot of things going on. You do A, B, C, and you also have D, E, F. So it's just a matter. And look at that. Look at that box over there. Look at that box, people.
Beetle and Grim. I swear, you guys, if you're into D&D, this is the thing. This is so the thing. I mean, come on. They give you a little book that tells you everything that's in there. All of this cool awesomeness. But I totally forgot I was coming. Totally forgot.
It happens. It happens.
But the other thing that goes with this is this came on the same day as monthly wine subscription. Yes, I joined a wine club. Judge me later.
Was it It was Horton's Vineyard? Was that the one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, it came on the same day as this box, so it's like, maybe there's a sign or something, But I opened this one up and I find there's some extra things in there: a little notebook, a pen, and a slinky. And I'm like, we've been up there. They're cool cats. They're nice people.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe they had a little toddler running around and, they're like, I want to help pack too. And just throws random things in there.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. So I figured I'd do the nice thing. I would call them up and go, hey, just FYI. And talk to the lady. And it's like, oh, no. We do that on every box. We want to add a little fun and a little humor to the boxes we send it. And I'm like,
I like that. That's kind of cool, actually.
I'm now a customer for life. You've won me
I think
over
you
with
were
that little bit.
I think you were a customer of life when they showed you the steampunk line of wine.
I was good with the product, but the club, the monthly thing, and it's like, oh yeah, we did that just because we want to have a little bit of fun in all our boxes.
Yeah,
And
that
I'm
is why Hortons is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, love it.
Veritas is my favorite vineyard, and then Hortons a close second. So, but yeah, I need to do another one of those trips, but that has to wait till June because this weekend is Comic-Con for me. Next weekend I'm heading to Florida, which is why we'll have that break for May.
This weekend I'm not sure if I'm gonna go. I've got some things I gotta square away. But my wife and I are thinking, we'll probably put off cons till next year because this year is kind of a rebuilding year on a lot of fronts. As much as I want to, but and she's a little bummed that Kevin Nash isn't going to show up at Comic-Con. Which,
Yeah, that was a scheduling thing. I might actually do a GalaxyCon in Raleigh in July. I'm really contemplating that because it's far enough from my vacation that I can have some money saved up and take off a few more days.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But that's like mid-July, so I think you might still be up in New York.
Yeah, I'm not due back till mid-July, and so
Yeah.
I may not get back for then. But it's one of those things. But yeah, it's like it's been a busy because my birthday was last week.
We
had dinner,
celebrated your birthday over at
Park Lane Tavern.
Park Lane Tavern, which is a great place, a local chain. If you ever come to our neck of the woods, there's one in Hampton and one in Virginia Beach.
You know what the funny thing is? The best part about that was actually having my dad come and hang out with us.
Yeah, it's always cool seeing your dad. It's always cool seeing the Scuba Senior.
Yep, seeing senior and everything. And the thing is, we were sitting there and we're talking, we're having a good time. That's a nice big group of like 13 people all up in there. My stepmom asked me, "Is like, do you work with all of them?" And I was like, "No." It took me. It's like I had to sit there. It's like, I worked with him and I worked with him, but I don't work with him now.
Yeah.
And then it's like and laying out like you and Angelica celebrating 5 years last week.
5 years
right?
together.
My Penumbra and his new girlfriend, and they've been together a few months now. Or it's like, some of the other people that are hanging out with us, it's like, yeah, they're just all friends that I've known for a good 10, 15 years or longer.
Somewhere around that number.
One of them I've known since high school, so that's what, 97?
Yeah. That's
I
a
mean,
while.
That's almost 30 years.
There you go. Yeah, I've known people that long too, so it makes me go,
Solid
wow.
20. Solid 2025 at this
Yeah.
point. Long damn time. Right? But yeah, it was just so cool on doing that. And, it's funny, it's my son's with us, and because we're celebrating the fact he's going to boot camp next month. And, yeah, we got to get some chance to get that time in.
Get the little bit of time in.
And it's like,
Sneak it in.
it's like we're sitting there, and it's like when my dad gets there, he orders a drink. And my son's like, I've never seen you drink. And I'm like, yeah, he doesn't drink often. He's at that point now. Drinking is not a need; it's a social thing, and it's on special occasions. And they happened to be doing specials on whiskey that night. So
They did do some specials on wine too. That caught my eye.
Oh yeah, wine specials. It's always fun.
If you saw me across the table when they said wine, I was looking at the menu, and then when I wine, it's like, what?
They also have a cider there. That isn't too bad.
Yeah, I've
You're
had
a
the cider.
guy.
Yeah, I've had the cider there. It's a different taste, but it, difference doesn't always mean bad, and I like that difference when I find a difference. So
Yeah, this is a lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving parts. Shop cleanup, shop projects. 97 cough cop.
yeah, 97 is a whiles now. Like you think about it now, you hear 90s music on the oldie stations, and it kind of makes you go,
Isn't that crazy? You listen to the classic rock, and they're playing Metallica.
They're playing Metallica, they're playing Nirvana, they're playing Pearl Jam, they're playing 90s Madonna,
I was
Mariah of the 90s. And you're like, wow.
I think we were at Park Lane Tavern, and I heard them play Cumbersome on the radio in the restaurant, and I am just like, I remember using that song for a mixtape in high school project.
Speaking of mixtape, I found one of my old mixtapes that I made on a cassette the other day.
I had all mine, but heat and temperature fried them, so those days are gone. And I had a really cool tape that former family member gave me, where it was like from the minute you hit play until the tape stopped, it was
Yeah, but
no breaks in the music. It transitioned beautifully. It had so many different things. It was
yep, I have a lot of those mixtapes on CD as well, but I don't have a CD player anymore, let alone a cassette deck. So
that sucks.
But that's only because
it's
I
so
plug.
hard to find a cassette deck.
Actually, there's one in my house, but I don't need it. But hey, I have everything playing through here now because you've been in my car. Plug it in. There's Spotify.
I've actually been looking to try to get my
or
Spotify
Apple, depending on what you have.
Because Apple doesn't do really well with the music. I mean, it's got a lot of music. Don't get me wrong.
I think Apple has the biggest
random
catalog.
play.
How does the random play work on Apple? I'm just curious.
Not very well.
Yeah, it works.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't quite figured it out, and because I want to listen, and I sit there and I sit there and I think about this during the day. It's like I want to listen to some old school rock for me. 90s stuff. 90s, early aughts.
Yeah.
Some early aughts, but mostly 90s stuff, and even a little bit of 80s fun.
Yep.
And it's like classic Bon Jovi and Jimmy Buffett, and then Metallica, and
Spotify.
Whatever.
Is really, well, you've been in my car, so you see what Spotify does. You know what
Spotify before, and it's just like, it's like maybe doing those.
Yeah.
But it's like I got to get the app working again so that I can do the whole, hey, just start playing songs and keep playing songs that are in that vein.
Yeah, I do like that. Well, because I'll say play, Kendrick, play this song by Kendrick Lamar, and it'll play that song from Kendrick Lamar, and then it'll play everything related to that style of hip hop. Or if I say play, don't forget about Dre. For Dre, it'll play 90s hip hop after that. Or if I play a certain Smashing Pumpkins song, it'll play after that. So, or if I just say play EDM, it's going to play the electronic music. Know exactly what I'm talking about. So.
Yeah, I don't know. So trying to get back into that, kind of fun stuff. But yeah, that was a lot going on the last couple of weeks in those terms.
Yep, and also, yeah, lots of stuff.
I know tonight we're going to talk about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Non-spoilerish.
To a point.
To a point.
Not try not to, but we went and saw it over the weekend. A phenomenal movie. We're gonna get into that, and then we got some additional Marvel things to kind of back and forth on. Moon Knight is now finished. We've both watched all 6 episodes.
Do a wrap up on that.
Do a wrap up and opinion on that, and then some other stuff going on. Ry, you've got an interesting topic piece you want to talk about, and that is the current and upcoming shows for the summer.
Yep, just a rundown because we're like right our podcast falls right at the precipice of the summer season, not only for films but also for some big shows.
Awesome. So yeah, Ry's got a list of there for that. Some odds and ends, and then we'll sail off to the sunset and start planning next week. So
yeah.
Let's
got it roll.
Let's talk about Doctor Strange
in the multiverse of madness. Crazy people, crazy or not.
Alrighty.
If that's what you think.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I mean, we don't. You really can't talk about this too much without spoiling it. So we're gonna try not to.
I'm pretty good at not doing that.
But honestly,
can go first if you want to go.
This is Sam Raimi coming back to the Marvel stuff.
It's actually his first film he has done since Oz and Great the Powerful, which was 2013. So it's been quite a while since he's actually directed a movie.
First film since 2013, but he hasn't dealt with the superhero genre since Spider-Man 3.
Yep, so that's even longer. So he's mostly been executive producing because he did the Ash versus Evil Dead show on Starz. I think it was Starz for 4 seasons and some other stuff, but now he's back in the director's chair.
Oh, which is good. I'm glad he's back in the director's chair. But this is the second Doctor Strange solo film, and he is here. It's basically set up with there's a young individual who has this supernatural ability.
Yep.
To cross the multiverse.
Dun, dun, dun.
She comes across. She's going to Strange for help. Strange is trying to help her with her power because there is some entity that is trying to get her power to cross the boundaries of the multiverse.
Yes.
So that is that's the setup for this.
The general setup within the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, and then from there it's the chase. And then it culminates with how do we resolve the chase and save the day.
Yep.
But it isn't clear. It isn't a very clear cut. It isn't very clear cut in the sense that you saved the day, but did you?
Yep. So, like you said, America Chavez is the one with the multiversal powers, and she's being chased down. So Doctor Strange, along with Wong, and also Wanda Scarlet Witch, they come into factoring into what is the issues with the multiverse. What is this entity that's chasing her? So now as they're crossing across the multiverse, what happens is that there's been a lot of rumors and theories and what they think this film is. It's supposed to be, this big bombastic film. But what you find is that this is actually a tale of personal growth, and it's very Doctor Strange centric in a way where even though he's crossing through all these different multiverses, it actually brings about certain questions of grief, loss, what is it that is for me to do, and how do I move on from A, B, or C?
Yeah, there's definitely great growth for the character, and it's nice because this is actually fairly self-contained.
Yeah,
this isn't there isn't a big call out to the broader MCU per se, but there are some great moments in this film if you're a fan of Marvel.
Yep.
And want to see where Marvel it's interesting because this is going to be that bit where it's because we all know Patrick Stewart's in this as Professor X.
That's one of the things we saw in the trailers.
And we know there's an appearance by Miss Marvel and by
Captain Carter
and Reed Richards. We know all of them are there.
Yeah.
What I love about this, when we get to that point in the film where we see them, it's not what you expected.
And they play against expectations in a way.
They play against expectations.
They
subversive. What I'm trying to get to is this is what happens when the creators of the content are doing the film.
Yeah.
Because it is Because I gotta say this, because this to me was really cool. As we're watching the film, when the moment Patrick Stewart's character comes on scene,
Na-na-na-na.
they're playing the '97 X-Men cartoon theme. He's in a comic accurate chair,
Yep.
and the audience was clapping
Yes.
and giving an ovation for seeing him back in, and it was great. Reed Richards, we now see who Reed Richards is going to be in the MCU. I think
supposedly,
it's a good casting choice.
I think that's what's going to be it, because if you're going to, I'm not going to say what or who, if you're going to hire said person for Earth 838, I think that's where they were. Why is he not going to be for Earth 616?
And I love how they called into that 6-1.
Yeah.
That's a nice nod for
so. Yeah. So like you said, what makes this movie so great, or just very enjoyable, is the fact that even though it expands on certain details, if you're paying attention to certain details, it expands without being expansive. It's very solo centric, it's very adventure centric, and what makes this film actually very grand and great is that you feel it as a Sam Raimi film within the MCU, because he has this knack of blending, reeling you in,
getting you on the edge of your seat, and then boom, comedy, and then coming around with the horror.
Yeah, so he does a great job of blending comedy, horror, and suspense without being predictable, because you don't see what's going to happen. There's a very ominous brooding of this evil entity moving through, trying to catch them, that basically they are going to destroy everything in their wake for a certain purpose. And what makes the villainy so captivating is that it's not true villainy. It's grounded. It's ties into that personal growth, that emotional griefness. And once you reach the third act, there's a lot of Sam Raimi-ness that gets blended in without being too obvious and hit on the note. And it blends in with the idea of how far will you go to prevent certain things or accept certain things in your own personal faults.
Yeah, and I like how we also have a creative use to do what could be essentially a very boring concept, and that is a fight between sorcerers and the MCU. I felt that the choices they made for those things were amazingly entertaining.
Yeah,
and I think that's definitely a credit to Sam Raimi in the fact that we know these tropes, but he's going to use them in a way we didn't see, and he's going to make it fun to check out and fun to watch, and then see it, and you're just like, man, that was such a great moment.
He does a great job of, like you said, playing against cliche, playing against type and trope, and building away from those general setups through a uniqueness of suspenseful moments by doing creative touches or creative niches that just makes the ordinary feel extraordinary.
Yeah. So what do I'm calling it a 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was an absolutely great film. I could not find any fault with this film.
No. I'm giving a 4 out of 5 full price, just a notch under you. It was very fun, adventurous. There's a couple things here and there, but not that takes away from anything. And why it's still such a great film, and why Marvel's so great, is because of the ability to expand but stay personal. Yes. And this is a great thing where it's showing that the world is huge. The MCU is even bigger now with the multiverse, and then you have all these godly beings that's going to be coming down and all this stuff, but it's still a Doctor Strange movie. It's focused on a personal thread. So it's showing that story within the bigger world, and also further ramifications for certain things that they're hinting at to come.
And you know what? I want to mention this is like, in terms of creative choices, I think what they did with Mordo in this is spot on refreshing, because I was saying this to my wife as we were leaving the theater on Sunday when we watched this. It's like, when we watch the end of the first Doctor Strange film, see that post-credits scene with Mordo, right?
Yeah.
To be completely honest, if they had kept that track with Mordo from the end of that movie into this one, it would have been a very boring
Yeah, it would have been a boring story. It would have not had any like really strength. It would have been that typical
Mustache
mustache
twirling
twirling
villain.
villain instead of
It
what they
would have been
had.
predictable.
Yeah.
It would have been extremely predictable.
So
Whereas what they did with Mordo in this one,
yeah.
phenomenal use of a character.
Yeah.
Established character, an established relationship. We've already seen the casting, but we're putting them in a situation that is different, and it's like you still keep the core of the relationship,
But you build upon it through a creative
but
twist.
you use it a different way.
Yep.
You use it a
And
much
the
different way, and a much more fun way, because there are definitely some zingers in that whole confrontation.
Yeah, and they do a great job. Another tip to doing nods and cameos. This is a good film that showcases how to do a lot of cameos without insulating it with too much other side stories. They are there, and then you move on, because it's like, the way I describe it, it's like you visiting a town in Florida. You know that this person is a baker, but you don't know his whole story. You go there, you go to the bakery, you get the pastries because you heard about the great pastries, and you move on to the next
Oh
destination.
yeah, totally.
That's how you see it, because you don't need everything explained, because it'll just convolute everything. He's there, he meets the Illuminati, moves on. So.
Oh yeah, and I mean it's all a great moment.
Yep.
But yeah, so go check it out. Doctor Strange is in theaters.
If you haven't checked it out already, because it made a buku amounts of money, so great job there.
Definitely. So let's here. Alrighty. So we're talking about Doctor Strange. Let's talk about how well it did over this past weekend, because it did phenomenally well.
Yes.
So according to IGN, the Multiverse of Madness had a domestic box office weekend of 185 million.
Yeah, that's domestic.
185 million.
They more than doubled the first Doctor Strange, because the first Doctor Strange made about 70 its opening weekend.
Yeah, they talk about it in this article. The first Doctor Strange debuted at 80. Let's see. Okay, the first Doctor Strange did 85 million.
Yep.
So yeah, this doubled what it did. But this also hands down beat out Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals.
Yep.
Hands down, beat them all out. But for reference, Black Widow did 80 million opening weekend, and Shang-Chi did 60 million, and 75 million for Shang-Chi, and 71 million for Eternals.
Yep.
The other one to beat was the Batman, who had set the bar at 134 million.
Yep.
So it definitely had a $50 million draw more. And that's just the domestic box office. Internationally, it is already up in there at like 400 million.
Yep. So looking at the numbers as of today, domestically, they're at 213 million. Internationally, 294 million. So a total of 507 as of Wednesday, May 11th. And that's going into its second weekend, which I'll probably see it a second time, actually. But yeah.
The other thing that's kind of funny in this article is to round out the top 5 for the last.
Note numbers from Box Mojo, so I don't get sued.
Yep. So The Bad Guys, which is a new DreamWorks film, after its second week was number 2 at 9.7 million. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was at 6.2 million, and Secrets of Dumbledore was at 3.8 million.
Yeah.
This rounds and rounding out the top 5 was Everything Everywhere All at Once was at 2.7 million.
And to add something to that, this actually Everything All at Once is the first movie that has net loss of 0 since it debuted 4 weeks ago. Wow. So it hasn't lost. So it's been just slowly just keep churning money.
But my point is, like, okay, 185 million for the top spot. Number 2 is just under 10.
Yeah. So we know what everybody was seeing. We know what you were doing, people. We know.
Oh, speaking of which, since last time we were on the air, I did go and watch Sonic Hedgehog 2.
What's your thoughts?
Fun. I would have not. I thought it was a lot of fun. I like how, from a cinematic standpoint, we are getting to the point that there is a sense of scale with CG.
Yep.
There, you've watched the movie, you know the point I'm talking about, where you get sense of. But I thought it was a fun ride. I thought I could definitely agree with you as far as character growth for the hero's journey.
Yep.
I saw the zinger at the end for teasing a third one, and I'm like, really?
Well, it's kind of like that is the next step because
I
it's the
get
next
it.
step in the actual game story anyway.
Oh yeah, I
So,
totally get it, and
but
it's fun. It's a fun film. It's got a lot of great nods to action comedies,
yep.
and like when the bride is like does the turn with the golf cart and steps off of it like it's nothing, and it's like, man, I've seen that in Jerry Bruckheimer films, yo. And then it's like
that's what I love about the movie. It does that, but does it in an about face way.
yeah. And I have to agree with the thoughts. I was telling my friends this is like, you know what? I hate Jim Carrey. I am not a fan of Jim Carrey movies. I think his shtick was getting old, getting tired. Early Jim Carrey, great. Mid whatever. Seeing him as Robotnik, perfect casting.
Yeah, because he's channeling the Ace Ventura, the Mask, the 90s Jim Carrey.
But he's not doing it in quite such an immature way.
It's an aloofness that is very iconic to creating his own version of Robotnik.
And the mustache works. The mustache works. It so works.
What do you think about the Knuckles character? I think that laugh gives it away.
You had it nailed, man. I mean, talk about the perfect straight person. When you talk about comedy, you have the straight guy, the guy who delivers his lines with no emotion, no inflection, but it's what he said that just made you just lose your head.
Let me put it in terms that me and you would understand. Dot 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 dot.
I mean, if Idris Elba did not have fun doing that role, I would be.
They're doing a TV series on Paramount Plus, and he's coming back to voice Knuckles.
Much fun to see that character and his seriousness and all of that, and then at the end, it's like the everybody else kind of gets that, these are kind of fun and goofy, but he's so serious. He's funny. It's like, I swear, if you had like, fandom universe crossovers, put him and Drax in a room.
Oh my goodness, the aloofness would be great. So
yeah, just put him and Drax in a room. It's comedy gold right there.
Oh yeah.
Shadowmanes, what's up, buddy? No, I was just talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
He actually checked it out, and he liked it.
It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
All right.
It was fun times.
Yep.
But yeah, getting back to the fact that Doctor Strange, 185 million, and it's
Great
30
job.
million just on day one, Friday.
Yep. So
Totally worth it. And and I like how it's just so self-contained.
it's a great story. It just showcases how Marvel does a great job, and it's a well-oiled machine. Makes me look forward. It makes me look forward to what's coming next.
I mean, Kevin Feige said they had the next 10 years planned out.
Yep, they're planning for until 2032. I think that's what it was. Don't quote me.
But they have that planned out, so it's just a matter of sit back and watch.
Okay, so looking at numbers, they made 90 million Friday, 57 million Saturday, 38 million Sunday, 13 million Monday, and 12 million Tuesday. All numbers from Box Mojo.
All right, so I was wrong. 30. Still, that's freaking ridiculous.
Yep. But hey, it is what it is. Makes me look forward to Thor. So
and so we have a couple of talking points.
It was just a guide.
Oh yeah. Here's the thing in the note. I totally missed that note about.
No, I just put it in while you were talking.
Oh yeah. See, it's live notes upstate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would give that a solid 3.
All right. Cool beans.
Give that a solid 3 out of.
Yep, it's like one of those. It doesn't have to be epic to be fun. Just like the Lost City, doesn't have to be crazy. Just be what it is and give me a smile. So I think the Lost City is actually on streaming now. I think it's Paramount Plus.
Lost City was fun to watch.
I think I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah,
If it's on Paramount.
That was
So
fun
one of the streaming services now, I saw it come
Speaking
on.
of streaming shows, let's talk about Moon Knight.
Finished it up last week.
Yeah, Moon Knight was great. I was a little bummed there was no immediate tie-in for Doctor Strange, but on after the fact, I'm happy there wasn't because I felt that might have been low-hanging fruit.
That was me just theorizing too, but you know, it's one of those things where it's Moon Knight, like you said, solo, very focused on the character, and I think it did a great job of completing but setting up new threads for things.
Yeah, now I believe it was entered into the Emmys as a series, so it may not be yet. But doesn't mean we won't see Moon Knight somewhere.
They are doing a Werewolf by Night special this Halloween, and if you know the comics, that's
actually where a Moon Knight showed.
Yep, so maybe he shows up there. But my thoughts, Moon Knight vaulted up to being my favorite Marvel show on Disney Plus. I think they did such a great job of bringing in a new character, building the character, and actually maturely showcasing the dissociative disorder without, being too gimmicky. So they played against type of character in a hero's quest, but at the same time created this aura of this world with Egyptian gods in the afterworld, and
so great.
Reveals of what comes
solid
next.
5 out of 5.
Yep,
I can't really find anything faulting with it.
It's not faulted for me. So
I mean, they kept you on the hook. They eased enough. Had a good kind of journey. Had a good resolution.
And he's
good about it. And then they came in and they just came right around and hit you in the back of the head with
guess what? There was a third personality.
Yeah, but you gotta watch episode 6 and see the post credits.
I'm not going to tell you, people.
So worth it. It was so worth it.
Yeah, and what makes me love this show a lot is that he is not the happy-go-lucky hero, and probably not even a hero the way he acts.
Well, that's always the thing I've loved about Marvel characters as opposed to DC.
Yeah,
DC's got great characters. Marvel's got great characters. Do not misconstrue. What I love most about Marvel characters is every prominent Marvel character has a flaw.
Yep.
And it's that working through the flaw is the best part of the character.
Yeah, that's what it is. They're flawed, even from everything from the grounded heroes to the magical heroes. They all have some kind of humanistic flaw, which makes them relatable. Makes the characters relatable.
Saw that point where someone's trying to sneak in. I see.
Sneaking in.
Sneak into the club. Hey, cheers right over there.
Yeah.
Come on, hang out.
But speaking of streaming shows, since we're at the precipice of the summer season outside the movies, I decided to put down a rundown of just shows that, maybe Ry and Scuba could recommend. I started from the way I did this list, as you're looking at it, I can tell, is earlier to later summer. So that's how what's now happening to what's going to be happening. So it's listed in like chronological when they're going to be released.
So we have Barry season 3,
which is a very underrated and a great show on HBO. It shows up on HBO Max the day after, but they're in season 3. It's currently going on right now. It's a very dark comedy, and it focuses on Bill Hader's character, which is he's an assassin who wants to be an actor. So it's a very dark satire film. It's a quick show. You could probably catch up with the first 2 seasons. They're like 30 minutes or less, the episodes, but great underrated show on HBO. Check it out. Tokyo Vice is actually one that just finished up. It's an 8-episode series, and it's like a detective noir that focuses on this American news reporter who gets hired by a Japanese newspaper in Japan and focuses in the late 90s and focuses on him trying to uncover the truth within the Yakuza. So the further he goes in, the deeper hole he gets. So
all right, yeah, there's a comment right here. It's like loved Moon Knight, just started WandaVision. Don't worry. WandaVision, if you watch Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, not seen WandaVision,
It's gonna make it a lot better.
totally fine. But after you watch WandaVision,
You're gonna understand.
you're gonna totally understand.
So
You're gonna totally understand Wanda and Doctor Strange.
yeah. So
Totally.
Tokyo Vice, the American news reporter, is played by Ansel Elgort. If you know him, he's from Baby Driver, West Side Story, and also one of the
talking about Tokyo Vice. Or
Tokyo Vice, and Ken Watanabe is the main detective.
Okay.
So
We have Bosch Legacy,
which
Bosch
is
that lawyer one on Amazon Prime, right?
no, it's one that focuses on a homicide detective.
Homicide detective.
Yeah, it had 7 seasons. It finished 7 seasons on Prime Video, and Bosch Legacy is actually the sequel series, which is on Amazon's free streaming services called Freevee, and it focuses on him as a private detective because at the finale of Bosch, he quits the force. So now he's a private detective. So it focuses on his journey as a private detective.
All right, next we have Star Wars Obi-Wan, which, given the timeline we're talking about, that is later this May. So
looking forward to that.
Will be starting up sooner.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see it. It's a limited run too.
6 episodes,
which is great. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. Stranger Things season 4, part 1 and part 2.
Yep.
Part 1 in May, part 2 in June. Should be interesting to see how that goes.
Another great show. Season 3.
That looks like it's going to be completely nuts.
First in I think it's the first or second week of June when it drops. So yes.
And then we have the next Marvel show, which is Miss Marvel on Disney Plus. This is with Kamala Khan as Miss Marvel. So I'm very curious to see that. I think there was a trailer released not too long ago.
30-second trailer. And I think it drops June 8th.
The next season of The Umbrella Academy, which I remember hearing friends telling me it was absolutely great. I should totally check it out. I haven't yet.
I love the first 2 seasons. It's very wacky, and it's like The Boys, where it just changes. It flips the superhero genre on its head. And it's going into season 3, and it deals with time travel. Both seasons deal with time travel, but there's always another consequence. So once they fix something, it gets even worse. So once they fix something in season 2, it got even worse in season. It's going to get worse in season 3.
Butterfly effect. Gotta love it. Then we have Better Call Saul.
Yep. So it's in its final season. I put it on here because it's a big show that a lot of people watch and is big, fans of Breaking Bad. And this is the prequel series, so they're heading into its final season. And for anybody that's keeping up with it, hopefully you enjoy it.
This one, Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. This is an animated one that's on Netflix.
Yep.
I've been watching it. I think it's actually really clever because it's animated, but if they did this in live action, it'd be straight up R, because it is nuts.
That's what you've told me, and I haven't checked it out yet.
I mean, here's the setup. Here's the setup, and I want to know who had this brilliant idea. If this was real, I was like,
somebody that was doing something.
Let's go to Jurassic Park. Music, dinosaurs, blah blah. Let's go to Jurassic Park and let's set up a summer camp for teenagers.
That is the Jurassic World kind of way.
And this is where I think it's really clever as a show. But the idea is that you leave a group of teenagers in Jurassic Park at a camp.
Smart. Said no one ever.
Right? So this, and here's where I think this is brilliant. Is the first 2 seasons are set. The first few seasons are set to coincide with the events of Jurassic World.
Okay.
And then Jurassic Fallen Kingdom. The Jurassic World and Jurassic World 2.
Yep.
And now it's got to coincide with the events, and it's obviously going to wrap up before the events of the latest film, which is supposed to be set 5 years after what happens in the second movie. But if you are a fan of the movie franchise and you watch this series, you will pick up on those moments in the live action film and see the aftermath when these kids come through. But these kids were left behind on the island when everybody left.
Very smart.
So no one ever. We're talking. They spend months on the island. Months.
By themselves.
It's great. It's absolutely hilarious. I thought it was a lot of fun. So then it looks like they got their 5th season, which is going to be their finale season, which is great. I think limited season runs is cool. Sometimes when you get a long season counts, it's like
You jump the shark and you just are in a redundancy.
yeah,
So.
stories kind of get lax lazy. And the last one is Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. I guess since I'm not a big Game of Thrones fan personally, really not interested in this. But if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, check this out.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm very interesting to see what they do because it takes place 100 years before the original series and focuses on House Targaryen.
The fall of House Targaryen.
Yeah, so it's actually, they released a trailer that gave a hint of what the show is going to be about. So it's going to be about, another kind of Game of Thrones, but with the Targaryen household, as well as introducing earlier elements of the Starks, the Lannisters, and one of the other families. So, yeah.
Baratheon.
Yeah, that's what it is. Baratheon. So you get to see those lineages.
Those 4 major ones that we talked about. There was a couple others, but it was those 4 that were really the.
So it takes place on the other continent, and like you said, the fall of Valeria. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, should be interesting. But yeah, let's see. Video game side. Don't really have a whole lot. I mean, you've been playing Elden Ring.
Pretty much that's my life, is playing Elden Ring, and it's actually gotten more fun. It's gotten very deep. I've taken out a few amazing bosses. The last
what's some of the unique elements of the boss?
Like General Radon is one where you're fighting out in the middle of the desert and you use spirits to help fight. But what's crazy about him is that he can call upon the power of the stars. So when you get midway through the fight, he'll shoot up into the sky and you don't know where the heck he's coming from. He comes down like a comet. So you have a bunch of spirits. The other one, I think, is Redania. Redania. And she runs the magical school, but it's a 2-phase fight. The first phase is you have to deal with all her acolytes, which is like unlimited acolytes she sends at you. It's irritating. But then the second phase, you're fighting her as she's channeling the powers of the moon. So yeah,
that sounds rough.
Yeah, but no, as long as you can, if you know your character build, you can win.
Okay.
So,
that's cool.
But it's fun. It's a vast world. Had a conversation with a mutual friend talking about, hey, does it have a real story? Yes, it does. But it leaves you to build your own story within the story. You find your path to becoming the Elden Lord.
Nice.
Which I love about this game.
Got some news. I don't have any video games to talk about. I haven't really been playing because, I haven't felt it's like I have to be that place out there. But we do have some news on Gotham Nights. Now they teased this a couple years ago. This is supposed to be you play as one of 4 of the Bat family: Nightwing, Red Robin,
Red
Hood, and Batgirl. And Batman has died, and you 4 are taking over the task of protecting Gotham, and you have to engage with the Court of Owls. That's what was teased. That was great. It's been a couple of years since we heard about it. Well, we finally have some updated news on Gotham Nights.
Yep. And it is it's going to be arriving on October 25th on PS5, Series XS, and PC, minus the old gen.
Yeah, that was the recent announcement. Is they're not going to have versions for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, which I heard of this. I was listening to this on my daily briefing this morning. You know what? We are a year and a half into the new generation. Supply chain issues aside, I think we're ready to move forward and let the old generations take their place in the Hall of Fame. So,
yeah. So I think this is actually a good move, and it's actually showing the signs that developers are starting to move away from the old gen, which I think it would actually be great because now they can actually put an emphasis on the new generation, so they can actually build big and more interactive and expansive worlds, which is hopefully, like, if anything is close to that showcase of the Unreal 5 engine that I saw today, holy crud, it's going to be amazing 2 or 3 years down the road.
Oh yeah. I want to. I don't think I'd be remiss if I didn't point this out because I found that my friend Saladin brought over his VR headset so he would not be distracted by playing it at home, as if this is a safer place to store it.
Put the gaming stuff with other gamers.
I know it. Crazy.
That's what I would do.
Off Battlefield. I like where you're thinking. But so hooked up and started playing VR. So I can't say I did play a video game. I played Beat Saber for 2 songs. Loved it. But I also bought some games. I know. No, I don't buy games that often, guys. Guys and gals.
But when you do, you do.
Well, I saw this combo deal on Steam and felt I had to be stupid not to buy it. Or Star Wars Day, a Star Wars bundle from EA.
Okay, what came in the bundle?
Oh, a little game called Squadrons.
Okay.
Battlefield 2.
Okay.
Jedi Fallen Order.
You can play that VR?
No, Squadrons is the other one that's VR compatible.
Okay.
But you get but this is 3 games that were in a Star Wars bundle from EA. Wait for it. The bundle retail is $157.
How much did you actually pay?
30. It was at 77% off.
Knowing how great Fallen Order is, that is a great deal just with that game itself.
You could buy them individually. Squadrons is $10 on Steam right now.
Yep. I think it's free through Game Pass.
Yes, it is, because Game Pass has the partnership with EA. So I've accessed all 3 of those games through Xbox. But seeing them and the fact that, the VR side, it was like, okay, here's 3 games I could play on PC, big Star Wars titles with story elements for half the price of one of them retail. Needless to say, I bought it. I believe the sale's still going on. I don't remember the exact date it ended, but if you are interested in those games, go to Steam and check it out.
Yep, but I am solely focused on my Xbox and Elden Ring right now, so
that's fine. I mean, I have Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart sitting right here waiting for me to play it on PS5, and I still have to finish Horizon Forbidden West. I was starting to get bored with the grind. So I shut it off a couple of weeks ago, so I need to get into it.
Just be like me, like a few hours of Elden Ring and be like, whoo, give it a few days and come back. That game's tough. That game is tough. So, like Shadowmanes knows, it's tough.
I don't think I'm that gutsy. Let's see. Oh man, we're running a little over today. Hope y'all don't mind.
That's why no after
what is
show.
This? The iPod has finally been discontinued?
Yes, the iPod, which we did do an article of the iPod Classic being discontinued. I don't remember which podcast it was, but the actual overall iPod is actually being discontinued, which the last one they still had in production was the iPod Touch.
Oh, that is a long run.
So, as reported in IGN, after more than 20 years on the market, Apple is finally discontinuing the iPod with the current 7th gen Touch, the last model to ever be released.
That is nuts.
So the iPod Touch is still available for sale, and it'll only be for sale for a little bit whiles.
Alrighty, so I think we're pretty close to wrapping up, but we got an odds and ends story that I have got to point out and talk about.
Save that to the last.
I'm saving that for
which
last.
one is it? Just give me the letter, and I'll skip around it.
It's a cosmetic product.
Okay, so I'll go B down to E. Okay, so but we'll leave that one for you. So
I mean, I have got to sit there because if you've been a fan of the program or whatnot, we just to let you know, we have a Discord, and on our Discord we have a section called Odds and Ends. This is where Ry will put the articles that he finds on the internet for us to filter through. Now the idea is to let the community pick which articles we talk about. Obviously, got to do some work, but anyways, he posted this item.
Oh, were you gonna start off with that one?
That's the one I'm thinking about. He posted this item.
All right, we'll start with that one.
On there, and Mayflower
picked up on it
and got excited.
Yes. So
this is we got it from wavy.com. Ramen noodles Cup of Noodles, right?
Yeah, cup noodles. Everybody knows.
Has released a line of makeup.
Yes.
Or it's makeup inspired by ramen noodles.
Yeah.
Makeup inspired by ramen noodles. What in the world?
Yep.
I mean, that color palette's it can't be all that creative. But then again, if the color, it looks like the color palette's based on the colors we see on a cup of soup or a cup of noodles. And it's like, really? That's what I'm not a fashion person. I'm not a makeup person. I'm not a cosmetic person. I'm none of that. But this is one of those things. It's a lot like the French fry flavored vodka. It's one of those. It's too meta to me.
Yeah. So as reported through Wavy, through an affiliate from Utah, so the iconic noodle company is partnering with Hip Dot, a Los Angeles-based beauty brand, to launch a limited edition makeup collection available as of May 3rd on the website hipdot.com. So, quote, the collection is inspired by the warm tones of ramen noodle soup, end quote. So that's why you have the different varieties of colors. And the box sells for $58, which is reasonable for a box set of makeup. So, and the ramen and makeup fans and include a pigment palette, a lip and cheek set, a powder puff, a Hip Dot X cup noodle makeup bag, and a fun set of chopsticks. Yeah.
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. It's really cool and really funny and really meta, but it's like,
you know what?
We've talked about some gimmicky things on this show, Ry. We have really covered some gimmicky things, but I think this one takes the cake. This one takes the cake as far as a gimmicky, weird food related product.
Hey, people love the cup ramen, so sometimes
a cup of ramen is great. I mean, Naruto got his entire life out of it.
Oh yeah, that's how it became the Hokage. So,
but compared to the console that KFC put out that warms your chicken while you play video games, the French fry flavored vodka from Arby's.
I would try that actually. Just curious. I'm just curious on that one.
I mean, it's like really.
The makeup.
But yeah, that's how we're gonna wrap up tonight. And let you think about ramen inspired makeup for those people in your life who like makeup. Because hey, we're not going to discriminate. Everyone's welcome. Everyone's a friend. So go with that. Feel as you want. Thank you to Ry for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you everyone in the chat who watched us live. Thank you for watching this video. If you're watching this after the fact, if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe and the bell notification to come back and check us out again next week on that. Have a great night. Love everyone. Stay safe. Do the things. Enjoy this wonderful spring weather. This is Scuba saying peace out.
Peace.